Welcome to the BBC.
Bring me your balls.
I feel like it was like a bad one night stand.
No, we're like, I'm gonna take on the world.
Lovely Las Vegas, where you can bring a hooker to your room, but you can't bleach an asshole.
Sometimes I bring cats.
Working for Luba is like working for Hitler with tits.
Whoa.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to another episode of the BBC podcast. We mean the big black, between both cheeks. I'm Becca, and I'm here with Luba today.
Hi.
We have a new co-host. So she's not gone forever, but her schedule, being a single mom, we all know, we can imagine what that's like. So in the meantime, we are going to have two co-hosts, and we would love to introduce you to Erin.
Hello, everybody.
Yay!
Okay, Erin, are you going to be spicy or mild?
It might depend on the day and the caffeine intake.
Yeah, the caffeine intake. That's what gets me. Okay, so Erin, who are you? Why are you here? Give us all of the things.
Hello, everybody. My name is Erin. I am a cosmetologist of 16 years. I am from Chicago, Illinois, but I have kind of just moved all over the place over the years. I am the newest addition to Bryght as the director of operations, and I'm very happy to be here.
Great. Okay, so you may have met Erin on the road if you've seen us at a trade show. That is how we met her. She started as a traveling Bryght babe, and just, the doors opened in such a way that now she's our director of operations. And I have to say, I think I can speak on both Luba and I's behalf when I say this. We are so glad to have you. Yes. The spreadsheets that you do, that is what we needed.
Did you see my new one I sent you today?
Oh, listen, then I'm just going to get you to fix that one that I made a disaster of for the show last year. You can just add all that shit up. No, and I, Becca, I agree with that. I second that. And, you took the words out of my mouth when we were going through all the videos of our episodes. So shameless plug, please, follow us on Bryght Skincare on YouTube and like, subscribe, and comment. Watching all of those and putting it together, it was always you, Erin. You were just always that person, the next step, the right fit for it was always Erin.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's kind of
I'm very happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, when we're in Mexico and you see all of the episodes together, maybe you'll see what we're talking about. But just as we were watching them, it's uncanny. Like, you always had really great sound bites and little quips that you would say. You were so just a total representation of what we want this brand to be. And I was like, oh my God, Luba, how did we ever think it could be anybody else?
You want to know the funny part is I told the videographer, I told Elena, I'm like, I just want to be the bloopers, okay? Because I don't know what to do. So I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, it came out. So I guess give us a little bit of a backstory how you found Bryght.
Excuse me. All right. So like I said, I have been a hairstylist for a very, very long time. I graduated high school a year early, and I was a little fearful to go to college before my friends. I was like, you know what? I always wanted to do hair. I used to get in trouble when I was a kid because I used to cut the girls in the neighborhood, their hair, and I would always get grounded. I convinced my aunt one time when I was 12 years old that I knew what I was doing. And I chopped her hair off.
Fake it till you make it.
So I went to beauty school. I went to Dallas, Texas, and I went to beauty school. I started working. I worked at Sally Beauty Supply throughout beauty school. And then as soon as I finished, I went into a salon, and I started managing my first salon at 19 years old. They just threw me in it. I had no idea what I was doing. but it kind of just followed me throughout my career. I tried to do, um, I did everything from privately owned salon, did well there, started helping manage that too. Um, I did my own suite for a while, but it was lonely being in a room alone. And then I went to corporate world salon, did very well there. But discovered when I started moving up the ladder, the politics that were involved in it all. So I took a step back and found another salon that was more like boutique run, but it was still like corporately owned, but you had the ability to run it like a mom and pop shop. It was, you could make it your own. Well, the woman who hired me ended up leaving the company, but became one of my best friends, coincidentally was friends with Luba and introduced me to her years later. So that just kind of bringing you up to speed, like that's where I'm at. And that's just the path that I've led. And it's funny because I've told Luba, I'm like, I just feel like everything in my life, the universe just like pushes you in the direction that it needs you to go in. Because there's just so much evidence of it. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. I was always, I had the creative brain of the hairstylist, but always, numbers are, how my brain works, as you can see with my spreadsheets, Luba and Becca.
Yes, you're amazing.
Yeah, so I always went into that managerial role, and it just kind of led me here.
And I thought Erin would just be part of the Chicago show because we needed a body for that. And Charlie was like, "Hey, I've got someone. She lives there. Like, she could just help us out." And I remember just like meeting her and being like, "Oh, thanks so much for helping out. Yeah, thanks. Okay, bye." And she's like, "Oh, like I can help you out at some more if you're interested." And I was like, "What?" Like, so like I just thought you were one and done. You were local. You were just gonna do us a favor, and then you came to all of them.
Yes. And
Yeah.
even when I was like, no, I don't really want to go to one, you're like, and I was like, but if you need me, just like, let me know. And you're like, I need you. I'm like, all right.
Wild.
Yeah, I was like, Erin, I'll buy you a bottle of wine, please.
Is that what happened behind the scenes?
I'm waiting for my wine, Becca.
Yeah, it'll happen in
nice.
Mexico.
She doesn't want that cheap shit.
No,
want no
tequila
Mexican
in
wine.
Mexico.
Maybe I'll
Wine.
bring
I'll
a
see you
check
next month.
bag
I
so
want
I can
wine.
drink liquid.
Oh God.
So, okay, so that's how you found Bryght. Now, you were with your last salon for quite a number of years. Did you already know that you wanted to try something else, or was it kind of a surprise after you found that new thing you wanted to explore?
So this is kind of a hard question for me. It was more like realization, right? So I was working at the salon and overseeing luxury salons in Chicago, New York, Atlanta, and I had it to the point where I had it running well, where I could take a step back and I had more freedom than I have had in my adult life. Well, that was fun for a little while, but it gave me the opportunity to work with Bryght, and I realized like there was no purpose. I was bored, like I didn't feel like I was doing anything meaningful. Yeah, I had this time off, but like you don't really appreciate the time off until like you have to put in work. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it was nice for a little while, but it also showed me like I want to do something more meaningful, and I want to put in hard work because it feels good at the end of the day.
And I remember having a conversation with Erin in West Palm because I knew that Bryght was like ready to grow, right? We needed someone else. It was getting very, very hard to have like 2.5 people. We needed another full-time person. And I remember sending Erin a text in West Palm when the show was done. And I was like, do you want to like maybe meet for lunch or breakfast or like have a drink? And she's like, okay. And I just started to like rattle off, like, I've got this position. I don't even know what it is. I don't even know what, like, I don't even know what the job description is. I don't even know what the title is. Like, verbal diarrhea, this is what it's going to be, and more. This is what the pay is going to be. Do you know of anyone that would be interested? And she's like, I am. And I was like, what? It was crazy.
Yeah. It was
That's
worth it.
exactly how it went down. I was like, you're interested. I just thought you would have like a connection to someone that might know, because she's like lived and breathed Bryght for several months and several shows and knew what we're about. And I thought she'd be a really good advocate in talking to someone, convincing them to come over. And I was like, oh my God, you have this like long-term career, like of this place that you're at. You want to leave? What?
Well, that was a big part of it too, honestly, now thinking about it. You know, going from and I know I've said this before, but going from, you know, managing employees who throughout this last couple years, you know, there has been a shift, right? So it was always like an employee who needed the employer, right? So it was after the last couple of years, it switched, and it was the employer like absolutely needs the employees. Everybody's hiring and there's not enough employees, and it just became so just a different world. So going from, you know, managing employees in a business to supporting business owners who, you know, strive and want and are doing everything they can to do better in their personal lives, their business lives, like that's huge too.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a really good point. I mean, gone are the days where you would see one spelling mistake on a resume and throw it out.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Now it's like, oh, well, maybe they didn't have their autocorrect on. Like, start making all these excuses. Like, well,
Probably having a rough day. It's okay.
Just
Do they
totally
breathe?
ignoring red flags.
yeah.
It'll be okay. We can fix
Oh, they
that.
applied for the wrong job. Maybe it was an error.
Yeah. We all
It was
make
the
mistakes.
computer's fault, not the operator.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's a really good point too. So what is your hope in this role in achieving personally that maybe you didn't have or that you completed in another role? And how do you know when it's time to move?
When you're unhappy or not improving, right? So I think that's when you know it's time to go. Or if things are just stale, that's no fun. Need a little spice of life.
Mhm.
I think with this role, I appreciate what Luba you're doing with creating a brand more so, and what the brand stands for, I think is probably what attracted me most to this company. And just being able to be myself and not having to hold back, which is nice. So if I drop the F-bomb during the meeting, I don't
Yeah.
feel bad at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, starting something from scratch, right? Like
Mhm.
we get to make the rules as we go, rather than this thing has already been built by dozens of people that you have never met. It's so old and it's already set in its ways, right? Like we're a new dog and you can teach us new tricks.
Lots of new tricks. For example, when I would talk to you guys on Friday, I was like, you will not believe what I was doing today for work.
Yes, let's talk about what tabs were open on your computer.
Oh, it was, see, if I could do that and have it pertain to work, like I feel like I'm winning.
Well,
Yeah,
now you
right.
got to tell the listeners now what you were looking at, because
What was I looking at, Luba?
butt plugs.
What did I share with my boss?
Butt plugs. A co-branding opportunity for butt plugs.
Honestly, though, it would be brilliant.
Oh, it's perfect.
If that is not a match made in heaven, like I don't know what is.
Yeah. And for those listening, it's not just any butt plugs. Like Erin found this company that's also woman owned. Just the way that they like position themselves and their opinions are very similar to ours.
Their marketing.
Marketing, the
So
graphic
good.
design, like the
They set
messaging
up
that
a
they
pop-up
use.
museum regarding like anal sex throughout the world
Yeah.
history. Like it's amazing. The work behind it to get the
Yeah.
message about the butt plugs out. Like I was impressed.
Yeah.
So
No,
impressed. I had to
it's
share with my boss on a Friday afternoon.
yeah. Well, there you go. I mean, it's very on brand, and my poor husband, like he just listens to stuff that comes out of this office, and I went downstairs, and he was like, "Oh, are you now getting into the sexual wellness part of the business?" Like he couldn't even say butt plug.
Poor guy.
We're manifesting.
Well, maybe we should. You're welcome. If you're listening, you're welcome.
Yeah, we got some fun things coming.
I think that just going back to what you guys were both saying about, what's the word that you guys use, like a new company, right? Like starting on the ground and being a new company and teaching, we're like a brand new dog, you can train it. I think on the business side for people to hear and listen, and maybe you guys don't see it on this side as employees, but the massive opportunity that you have to be at the start of a company is huge. Like being employee number 1, 2, and 3, even 5, even 10, like that is such a massive opportunity that people don't see. And so many people go towards safe because they see that a company has been around for a long time and they know I'm going to get a regular paycheck. I'm going to get, I don't know what it's called in the US, like 401ks or whatever, or RSPs, or all this extra stuff that like an old company can offer that maybe a new company can't. They get blinded and jaded with the opportunity of salary increases, bonuses, trips, like all the little things where you can make whatever decision you want at the beginning if you just put in the time and grow with the company, because those people are the people that are first rewarded before anyone else. So being employee number 2, 3, 4, 5 to 10 versus 2,695, there's a big difference in that. And I feel a lot of people don't look at that, and they look at safety and just being, what's the word I want to use? It's not consistency, but
Longevity.
yeah. Like they just want to be okay and they don't want to rock the boat at all, but there's no opportunity
And
for growth.
that's okay for some people, but then
Yes.
there's others who are, want to get the fucking job done and they want it to grow fast. The change is exciting. Like for me, I love change. It does not scare me one little bit. If something is worth it, it should scare you a little, which that's good, because you're not stagnant. That's what I was talking about before. Like if you have that, monotone, just mono feeling, just steady line, you can't appreciate the highs and lows. So I think it's healthy, but it's, if people don't like it, that's fine too.
Yeah.
Stay where you are.
Not every new company is going to be safe. Some new companies can be very volatile and go under and miss paydays, and especially startups. So I think Bryght is unique, as we all know, from the products to the brands to every part about it. There's nothing like it. But it's really exciting to be a part of that.
I agree.
And I think, with just, Erin having the experience and traveling with us and being a traveling Bryght babe versus jumping into a role, like she got to listen to her gut and got to see with her own eyes on like who we are, what we stand for, the success that we have at the shows, talking to our customers and hearing directly from them. Like you do have to go with your gut, and you do have to go, based on research and what feels right to take a risk and a change.
Well, sound right. Here I am.
Here we are.
Here she is. We're not going to do the work.
I'm here.
So, Erin, what advice do you have for anybody listening that is maybe thinking about switching career paths but is not quite there yet?
Good question.
That's a really good question. Are you passionate about it? Does it spark some sort of feeling? Because otherwise, like, what's the point, right? If you're bored at work, don't ever think that you can't not do something new. I have asked Luba and Becca to be patient with me because the amount of things that I'm just trying to wrap my head around and understand because it's completely different industry. But at the end of the day, I'm happy and I'm confident in myself, and I know I'll make it work. So if something excites you and you're interested in it, take a shot at it. You'll regret not trying more so than trying and fucking up, right?
Yeah. Wow. That's really good advice.
Thanks.
And there's that F-bomb she was talking about.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. This is an R-rated podcast.
That's right. That's right.
I have to, every time I upload them, I have to click the little checkbox that says, is it explicit? And I go, yeah.
No.
And I just say a whole bunch and you just beep, 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 beep.
No,
beep.
no monetization. Monetization for us.
Oh, goodness.
Crazy. Well, so just dive into it. If that's what you want to try, do a little bit of research, listen to your gut.
That's what you say, Luba. Listen to your gut. She's your best friend and you never listen to her. And I love that. I tell people that all the time.
Yeah.
True. It's true. We never do. We never do. And then when we don't listen to her, we're like, oh my God, I had a bad feeling from the beginning. Yeah. It's crazy.
And how fun to work for a company. Like I was just, before we go, last week we were considering an opportunity with an outside vendor to do like pop-up shops. And we'd had like 3 or 4 meetings with this company. Everything on paper was sounding good, but I just like didn't get the right vibe from the person I was meeting with. And then I said to Luba, I was like, like we have no reason not to do it, but I just don't get the right feeling. And Luba was just like, okay, well, that's it. We're not doing it. Like that was reason enough for her. Yeah. And then Luba said that she also had that same feeling, but was, letting me make my own decision. But I was just like, oh, like that's the only reason I need is just like, it doesn't feel right. And then
feels good being employee number 2. Your voice is heard.
Yeah, right.
There we go.
Yeah, but Becca, I feel like you have a bad feeling about somebody. It's probably
right. Because usually I'm like, oh, I didn't know. I thought they were great.
Yeah, I
feel it's amazing
like
how people surprise you with that, and it's always, I find it's always the people where they show you such good things, like they do such good things. There's no like, I don't know. It just, I've done it so many times where I'm like, why do I feel like this about this person? They're showing me everything to perfection, but it always ends up shitting the bed somehow.
Shit the bed.
Over and over. So and I had this, I was like, Becca invited me to one of the meetings and she like literally lost me in 30 seconds. I was like, this is boring. I don't like you. I don't know why I don't like you. I have no reason. She's very professional. She was on time. The presentation was beautiful, but I was like, I don't like you. Something about you I don't like. So I was not engaged at all. And Becca was like, Luba, do you have any questions? I was like, nope.
It's
over.
Being professional is one thing, but being personable is another. And I think you have to have both of those. And if you don't, then you don't get it.
Yeah. And then it was just a conversation like, maybe a day later or something. She's like, I don't know. I just have this feeling. I'm like, oh my God, me too. It's done.
Yeah.
Over. Next.
Yeah. And who knows if we had done it, maybe it wouldn't have been as successful as we thought it was. Because it just didn't feel right. But everything on paper said, yeah, all good. So listen to your gut. That's our lesson
to your
today.
Best friend.
And if you're bored, you can jump ship. You can always change your life.
Yeah. I think that's the most important, right? Like you have to be excited to come to work. Period.
Yeah.
Yes.
And God knows Bright's an exciting place to be.
It's exciting.
She has a gun to our head.
Butt plugs and all. This is a fun place.
Butt plugs and all. Anal bleaching and all. It's a fun place.
Anal bleaching and branded butt plugs.
I can't wait. It's going to be so good.
I can't wait to hear from those people. I'll be honest with you.
Oh my God.
Okay.
It'd be great to have him on the podcast.
Oh yeah.
They have a podcast too.
They have
so
a
they're like
great-
so aligned.
Yeah.
So Erin,
So
your
aligned.
research, I don't need to know how you came across their website.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did.
Well, Luba, I told you that one video that I sent you, I gotta find it. About the woman, the historian talking about, I think it
Oh,
was
so good. It's so good. It'll be in our thread. I'll have to find
Yeah.
it. It was so
Okay.
good. Yeah, for sure. But on that note, that is Erin's advice. Erin, the new team member with Bryght. We're so excited to have her. You just fit, Erin. That's all I can say, like a butt plug.
I fit and I stay.
On that note, Becca, where can they find us? Subscribe, like, do all of the things.
Oh my gosh. Okay. You can listen to us every week on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, anywhere that you listen to your favorite shows. Excuse me. You can watch the video version on YouTube. Our channel name is Bryght Skincare or at Brighten Up. You can see all of our faces and put the voice to the face. And if you don't understand how to do any of the things I just said, just go to betweenbothcheeks.buzzsprout.com. And we will see you next week.
Yes, just a quick reminder before we go, really quick too, if you can please like and comment for this podcast so we can get more guests and better guests and quality guests. That will definitely help with who chooses to come on our podcast and talk to us. So like, comment, subscribe, all the things.
All the
Thank you,
things, y'all.
and good night.